Hello, my name is Janice Dublin. I'm a character animator. Today I'm going to be animating the drawings I did for my 6 fan arts / draw this in your style challenge. They're all characters from 2000's Cartoon Network shows. Adventure Time came out in 2010 technically, but don't worry about that. You can see the original posts on both my Tumblr and Instagram, links in the description. First up is Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time. Adventure Time was a show I watched fairly often before I went off to college. I thought the designs and animation were great, but the show itself was pretty weird. I wasn't actually there for all the cool deep stuff that happened in later seasons. I really should do a full rewatch one of these days. So here I have PB doing an I have an idea action, because I remember she was a scientist. The flowiness of her hair was a bit hard to wrangle, but I think I got it by the end. I originally intended to do just the drawings and call it a day, but I had used my animation program Toon Boom to do the line art and color in order to match my style the closest, so that's like, they're already here, why not animate them a bit? They're all gonna be super short 30-frame GIFs. The general idea here is to use the pose the character is in and animate around that pose. What I did was I cut each body part out and separated them into different layers, which I then set up into a simple hierarchy so I could control them individually. Next is Baby Daffy Duck from Baby Looney Tunes. I liked the show a lot when I was younger for some reason. It was fun. So I'm sure making some of Daffy's line art white wasn't a problem for the original hand-animated show, but boy did I have a hard time doing it on this puppet rig. Because when a black part overlaps a black part, the white has to show, but not any other time, so I had to do some green screeny black magic to make it look okay. I have Daffy in a mischievous pose here because I'm sure even as a baby, he was a brat and a schemer. Up next is Superhero Static Shock. This show was always very cool to me because I love stories that have superpowered characters. At the time though, I was kinda young and Static Shock felt like a big kid show to me, so I didn't watch it too frequently. I have Static here in a flying pose and wearing his second darker outfit because I think it looks cooler. Toon Boom has a sophisticated hierarchy connection node system, and you'll see it get crazy once we get to the section on Chowder. But yeah, don't worry about all this. Now for Frankie Foster from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I watched this show a lot. It was a lot of fun. Wilt was actually my favorite character, the super kind, tall, red basketball guy. But I also liked Mac and Frankie. Here I imagined Frankie was looking skeptically at one of the more rowdy imaginary friends. She had a lot of bull to deal with in that show. This pose and animation idea was pretty simple, so I finished it quickly. This box you see here with the curvy lines is the way that I set the ease on the frames. It adjusts the in-between drawings to be either closer to the keyframe or more spread out from the keyframe. A bit hard to explain, especially for puppet rigs like this, but you can think of it as like a speed dial in a way. Time for Best Boy. This is Jack Spicer from Shaolin Showdown. This show was my absolute favorite when I was a kid. Shaolin Showdown and Avatar: The Last Airbender were the shows that introduced me to Asian aesthetics and culture, and I fell in love with it. In Shaolin Showdown, Jack Spicer was the best character, hands down. He was the villain, but was super funny and surprisingly well written. He was an idiot, yet extremely talented. He was incredibly selfish and claimed to be a villain, but showed a more gray set of morals more than once throughout the series. I started writing fanfictions for the first time because I was so fascinated by his character. I also started drawing him and doing character studies in my journal. He really made me realize that I loved studying characters and analyzing stories. Man, I could talk for hours about Jack Spicer. In this animation, I have him in a menacing flying pose with his helibot. Now, for the last one, Chowder from Chowder. This show was insane. It was super funny, but also pretty gross and weird. A lot of cartoons were like that at the time. The coolest thing about the visuals was obviously the moving textures. It looked like the characters were all somehow moving through the textures on their clothes. Making a rig for Chowder was only difficult because of that one part. Though I'm not certain how the original show creators pulled off this effect, I can explain how I did it. And it is quite easy. Basically, the texture of the clothes here is one giant panel that I made into a background. It covers the whole screen. I emptied the sections of his clothes where the texture goes and kind of green screened it so the texture showed through. The texture is still separate though, so when I move the character, it's just showing the stationary texture in the back. Chowder has two colors on his clothes though, so I rigged two background textures and fit it together with more rigging. Here I have Chowder in an excited pose. He was always someone with a lot of energy. I imagine he's watching Mung Dal cook something new and wants to try some. And there you have it. All the animations are done. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more from me, consider subscribing, liking the video if you enjoyed it, and sharing the video with those who might enjoy it too. Follow me on social media for channel updates, and I will see you next time.